Now, when you guys think Magician build in PGA Tour 2K25, you think of being able to get out of some of those tough situations, being able to get up and down, scramble a little bit. But I'm here to tell you, if you use this Magician build right, the way it's set up, it just might be the best overall archetype in PGA Tour 2K25. What's good, everybody? It's your boy JD back with another video here, and like I said in the intro, I made myself this Magician build, and if you lay it out the right way, it might just be the most balanced, well-rounded archetype in PGA Tour 2K25. It gets plenty of power. You can definitely hit some bombs with it. You're able to shape the ball. You can move it from right to left. You're able to get up and down, like I said, with that recovery situation. It's got very good putting. I mean, all in all, it just might be the best build out there. Alright, now let's go ahead and get into how I set up this Magician build. Now generally when you think Magician, you think recovery, 90 plus, 95, 99 recovery, and that's great and all, but most of the time we're not trying to get out of trouble. We're trying to just hit good golf shots and be the best overall type of player that we can be. So what I did is I used the Magician setup, as you can see here. We're only a level 66 right now, so we don't quite have everything maxed out. I think we'd be like a 94 overall or something like that. You can see we got a little bit on our rhythm transition and then some of our putting stats to upgrade, but I have all the main stuff upgraded. And what I did here is I used the Magician base to create what I think might be one of the most balanced, well-rounded builds or archetypes, whatever you'd like to call it, in PGA Tour 2K25. And here's why I say that. What we did here is we went 74 on our power, and as I'm going to show you when I show you the clubs and my fittings and everything, we're going to correct our power here by using some of those different club fittings to increase our driver distance and everything like that. But generally overall 74 power, pretty solid, even without all the fittings and extra stuff like that. And by doing that, we are able to put an 80 contact on this. So we're going to have nice wide, whatever you want to call it, swing path window, whatever, to be able to create nice solid shots. To go along with that 80 contact, we also have the 80 swing path. So not only at the bottom of the swing, but the top of the swing, you're going to have that nice window. And again, with some of the irons and some of the other things, we did some things with our fittings and we tweaked this a little bit. I'm going to show you those when I get through everything here. You can see we went 55 on the correction. They kind of, adjust the swing plane a little bit. I'm fine right where it's at 55. I would rather have the 80 swing path on here, so that's what we went ahead and did. Now for the shaping, we saved a little bit on our recovery. As you can see, we only went 75 on the recovery. We didn't go too crazy, but even with 75 recovery, I noticed even when you're in the rough and stuff like that, your percentages do go up by a fair amount. And again, we're not always going to be spending our time in the rough and trying to get out of trouble, so I didn't really see the point in giving up all of the extra shaping ability to have that extra recovery. So I put an 80 shaping on this. If you recall back on the sculptor build I did, I think we put the 99 shaping on here. Even with the 80 shaping, and when I show you in some of the gameplays here, when we try to hit that fade, now my player has like the natural draw, but when we move that over and we want to hit a fade, we can still hit a pretty solid fade without having that swing path kind of flip over and kind of mess with your swing. So if you're a person that's kind of used to just one general direction as far as how you like to swing the club, having this 80 shaping on there, you're going to be able to move the ball from left to right with ease. Again, you've got the 80 contact and swing path on this as well, so you've got that nice combination of everything to go along with your player here. Like I said, rhythm transition, I've got them both at 70 right now. We've got 12 extra points on here. We'll probably upgrade these both. I like to keep these two both kind of balanced out, so we'll probably try to keep those as balanced as possible when we go ahead and upgrade those. And the kind of same thing down here for the putting. I'm probably going to put more on my putt rhythm and my putt weight. I know a lot of people like to move over here to the contact and path. I kind of feel like we've got it down a little bit, so again, we'll kind of mess with this. Maybe we'll come back and respec it when it's all done, but that's what the basic setup is here. As you can see, we got a lot of like in that 75 to 80 range on a lot of these stats, which is why I say this could be possibly one of the best all-around builds in PGA Tour 2K25. As far as the skill tree goes, I'm still building this thing out. Like I said, he's only a level 66, so we still got a little ways to go. But you see we got all the basics on here. We've got our normal shot, we've got our stinger, and then my favorite, obviously, I like to use the power drive as well to get that little extra off the tee, especially on the par 5s and things like that. The approach shots, some of my favorite shots to hit are the runner, and I also definitely really like using the spinner, kind of that, you know, hop check, you know, type of a chip shot. On the recovery side, again, still kind of building this out again. If you've watched any of my previous videos, the super flop is probably one of my favorite shots in the game right now. I love to use that around the green to get up and down, you know, from some of those tough spots. It helps you avoid, you know, bunkers and different things like that. And then having the Magician Archetype, you can see we've got the recovery shot type, which now I have unlocked on here, and then we'll continue to build out the skill tree as we move along. Kind of the same thing with the bunker shots here. We're still kind of working this thing out a little bit. We've got the splash, we've got our power pick, which again, I'm a little bit disappointed it doesn't pop up more when you're in the fairway bunkers, or even some of them like mid to long range bunker shots. But we've got the power pick on there, and then similar to the super flop, the pick shot is probably one of my favorite to use out of the bunkers. And then looking down at the green, you guys remember we grinded out the no money spent greenskeeper build to 85 specifically just to get the green reader. Now I had used the Texas wedge a little bit out of the rough of late, and it's pretty solid if you know how to use it. If you're one of those players that, you know, likes to maybe control the putt a little bit more, or you have some of the longer distance ones from off the fringe or whatnot, it's something you can definitely look into. It puts a little extra boost into your putting. But again, the main reason for having the 85 greenskeeper was to get the green reader. You can see we're building this thing out a little bit too. We'll add to that so that we can get all of the accessible, you know, reads or grids, whatever you'd like to call it, to that. And then the clubhouse pass, you can see we've got the tie spinner, and then we've also got the long flop. Again, a very useful thing to use. I love those flop shots, so we definitely like to use some of those. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the golf bag real quick. I'll show you the clubs and fittings, and now you can see here, I told you with my driver that I put a lot of the power fittings on there. Currently we have 4 power fittings on there, giving us a plus 18 to our driver. If we go ahead and look at how the driver is set up with those plus 4, you can see we've got the 294 distance on the driver. Again, I think that's really solid for this type of a build. Again, starting out with that 74 power. Because we have the 80 contact and the 80 swing path, the 80 shaping, I didn't feel I needed to use any of those extra attributes on our driver. So we're trying to get the maximum amount of distance as we can. And again, you can see we've got one more spot to fill up here at the ruby level. And then we'll continue to work and upgrade our driver and some of our other clubs as we move along. Kind of the same thing with the 3-wood. Actually, I just unlocked this 3-wood the other day, so I've just got 1 power fitting on there. And then currently I'm using a 2-iron. I'll quick show you the way I have my iron set up. So what I did is I went with a little bit more of a balanced approach as far as it goes with the irons. You can see we put 1 swing path, 1 contact, 1 power, 1 shaping, and 1 recovery. So we've got kind of 1 of each on here. But I mean, look at them stats: 78 power, 84 shaping, 84 swing path, 84 contact, and 79 recovery. I think that's a pretty nice little layout. You get kind of the best of the shot, you know, whether you're just hitting it out of the fairway or whatever, but then you got that little bit of extra recovery in there for those shots when you do need to hit them out of the rough. And then moving down, I'll show you guys the wedges. I set up the wedges just slightly different. Didn't put any of the power fittings on there. But you can see what I did with those is we put 2 of the contacts and 2 of the swing paths, giving us a nice solid 88 swing path and 88 contact on our wedges. And then again, I added 1 on the recoveries in there, boosting that up to 79. So when you are hitting some of those approach shots or shots around the green with your wedges, it just opens up that window and makes those percentages a little more friendly for you. You can see I'm just running the basic putter. I'm still running the Scotty Cameron putter. I think this was one you got from a challenge of beating Tiger Woods in my career way back in the beginning of the game, and I'm still using that putter. Nothing too fancy there. And then golf ball, it's just kind of all personal preference. Right now I'm using the Tour Response Stripe. And then as far as the setup, I did have a 5-wood in here and then a 3-iron. I went ahead and switched that out. So now we're rocking a 2-iron and then the 5 hybrid. I feel like it just sets up my clubs a little better distance wise. On the hybrid, you can see I went ahead and put 1 contact, swing path, shaping, and recovery on each of those, just because this is one that you hit, again, hitting into the par 5s, or maybe you're hitting out of that first cut of rough on some longer par 4s or even par 5s. So I feel like that's kind of the nice little setup. That's what I have right now. Comment down below what you think of the setup in the bag. And that's really going to do it for the video, guys. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, checking out this Magician build, which I think, like I said, might just be the best overall archetype if you lay it out the right way in PGA 2K25. It's been your boy JD. Again, appreciate you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're new. Peace.